knew the crowd would be awesome, and it was one of our better crowds we've had here in Louisville. And not only was the fifth largest, but it was the fifth largest crowd, and the crowd was great. They kept us. We needed defense to win this game tonight. We got a lot of situations where we were a little offensively challenged, playing people we didn't expect to play. We were expecting to play Mats tonight. He had a great week of practice, and he dunked the ball and walked through it today and threw out his neck. So, and then we got foul trouble, and then we had to play Honest, and Honest did a good job. I thought he did a good job. I thought our freshmen hurt us down the stretch because they didn't get to what we call our down position, and they gave up 2 wide open shots, and then they kept giving D'Angelo Russell his left hand when we took it away in the first half. But that's to be expected. This is all a very complicated defensive scheme, and they're going to have a lot of trouble with it because they've never seen it before.
How important was Wayne's offense?
Wayne's been terrific. You know, as good as Wayne was, I was really impressed with Terry Rozier because the other day, in the middle of practice, everybody starts not screaming. Everybody said, "Oh my God, his pinky became an S." So he ran over to Fred and said, "Put it back in." Squeezes it back in. Fred's got big fingers, and all of a sudden he goes back in. And I said, "You're fine." And he said, "I'm good." And then Fred said, "You're not good. You got to tape it up." And he said, "I don't need it." And then Fred had to pull him off the court. And the same thing happened tonight. His fingers totally dislocated. You know it's throbbing. You know it's hurting. It's the second time he did it. And he took the big shot when we were up 3 to give us a lead. And that's a hell of a thing for a guy like that to do. I thought Terry Rozier, who didn't have his jump shot early, was getting every rebound, making big plays. And I thought he was great down the stretch.
You probably got 4 turnovers from your guards than you wanted. What were they doing that they didn't want to do, or was it trying to make something?
Them turning us over?
Probably, yeah.
I thought we were just trying to do things we don't normally do, throwing half-court lobs, and just trying to. Sometimes when you play at home, guys get so pumped up that they try to turn on the crowd with spectacular plays, and what it does against a good team, it leads to turnover. But that's as fine a half defensively as we've played in a long, long time, including past years. I don't think we could have played any better defensively than that first half, and that's what's carrying us right now. Our offense is going to come. Because we've got a lot of young players. I'm playing a lot of veterans, a lot of minutes. And our offense, I thought we passed the ball really, really well tonight. Got a lot of open shots. I think we had 15 assists. And we just didn't make the shots. But we'll start making it. A lot of you, if you all remember, from what I'm told by Eric Crawford, that you all questioned Luke Hancock. You all remember what happened there. So Eric was trashing all of you. When we would spend time writing the book, he just said, "I can't believe all these rights."
You talked a lot about deflections last year. What was your first half number?
We had 27 for the game, but the game was a little slower. You get a lot of deflections when the game's fast, but we were so active defensively. Really, they didn't get a good look, but 2 or 3 times the whole first half. And there, as you all know from the numbers, those numbers that they put up were scary. And you could say that, well, it was the competition, but we were playing similar competition, and our numbers weren't like that. So we're really a good defensive team, real proud of what we're doing, and I know our offense is going to catch up.
Why do you think the defense is so far along?
I think because the veterans know it very well. Now, Mango wouldn't have made those mistakes, but unfortunately, that ankle's really bad.
Is that as good of an execution there on offense in the final minute that you could ask for this early in the season?
Yeah, Chris is a really good. If you look at Chris's numbers, you would say he's not that good. Chris is a real good shooter. Chris was taking challenge shots, but I've got confidence in him and Terry once they're open. Obviously, we know Wayne's a good shooter, so all 3 of those guys are going to develop into good shooters. And they're average right now, but they're going to develop because we were taking challenge shots. Tonight they didn't take it, and Terry down the stretch really showed me something. Chris showed me something, and then we did an excellent job of rebounding for most of the game.
What areas was Chinanu lost that had the pass playing those?
Well, at the end, what happens is, we're switching 3 or 4 times at every possession. We go from zone to man, then we go back to zone, and then we go, at the end, we're always in man, and he never went up on the pick and roll, and now the guy comes off, and it's what we call pick and roll, the guy going downhill at a 5-man, when the guy's much better. You gotta get out there, and you gotta almost like semi-trap him, and then when the guy rolls to the basket, the other wing takes him, the guard goes out to the perimeter. So it's a scheme that's very complicated for a freshman, but they're learning from their mistakes. And if you win and learn from your mistakes, it's a good thing.
What do you get out of a game like this down the stretch and learn?
It's a great game. The atmosphere was awesome. I knew it would be. It was one of the better atmospheres I've seen in my time here. From the moment we came out, it was just great atmosphere because we knew they were a terrific basketball team. That's the fun part about our home schedule this year. We've got Carolina, we've got Duke, we've got Miami, Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio State, Indiana in the Garden. And if you can get it out to our fans, Indiana they got a lot of New Yorkers that went to that school. So if you can forget Christmas and come down to Indiana, I really appreciate it.
Rick, when you're involved in something like this, the challenge, do you have any awareness of the rest of the games, or are you just totally focused on?
I was just concentrating on one game, and that's Minnesota versus Wake Forest. I was watching that whole game, yelling at the screen and making notes. I made literally 2 pages of notes for him. And he just listens every time and says, "Is that it, Dad?" He's got to go. So I've got 2 pages of notes. And he won by 15. I got 2 pages of notes.
Your team shot 29 threes. What's a good number for this team?
Well, they played all zone. We knew they would play. I don't think, with the exception of the shot clock running out, that we took bad threes. We took good threes. We just didn't make them. I think that Montrez took a bad one on the break one time. He was really disappointed in his free throws. But I said, Montrez 3 went in and out, and they look good. I said, sometimes you just don't worry about it. They were in, and they went out.
How do you think your team plays against this zone?
I think we're going to be very good because we get open looks. Sometimes in man you don't get open looks. We had open looks tonight. And I think Chris and Terry and Wayne are going to be good shooters in the perimeter. I think all 3. I think Mango's going to give us some experienced defense. And I love our big guys. I love Anis, I love Mats, and I love Nano. I think all 3 are going to develop into big-time basketball players someday. And so I'm excited about their potential.
Anything else for Coach?
Thank you all.
Coach Motto will be in here